On today's episode of Get Motivated, I am going to be talking about the legend himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, he was invited as a speaker at an occasion. When he get on stage, he started by telling them a little story concerning how he left Austria to the United States of America. So, it all started when he was younger. His parents would always tell him if he becomes a man, he is going to be taking over from them as farmers. So while they were saying this, every now and then he would get himself a newspaper just so he could go through these newspapers and see the bodybuilders there. According to him, while on that stage, he was telling these stories. He would go through this newspaper just to take a look at the bodybuilders, the pictures of bodybuilders on these newspapers. And he would always tell himself, this is the kind of life I would like to have. This is how I would like to live my life in the near future. I want to be a bodybuilder. So gradually, this was how he left Austria. So Arnold Schwarzenegger was born on the 30th of July, 1947. He is currently 79 years old. Coming down to the United States of America, the American dream, of course, happened for him. He became so very successful at almost practically everything that he does. He became successful at practically all the things that he does. He acted in 2 movies that brought him to limelight. The first movie was in 1982. That was Conan the Barbarian. And the second one would be the most iconic, Terminator. That was where he actually got his name, Commando, from. These 2 movies actually brought him to limelight in terms of acting. He acted a lot of movies, but these 2 were the ones that brought him to limelight. So, talking about his bodybuilding career after he had left Austria to the United States. As a young person, just 20 years old, he became Mr. Universe at just 20 years old. He held that title and that made him the youngest to have ever hold that title at just 20 years old. Then talk about Mr. Olympia. He held that position for 6 consecutive times. Mr. Olympia for 6 consecutive times. That was the highest anybody could ever go. As far as that title is concerned, 6 consecutive times as Mr. Olympia. That is not a small feat at all. All these were happening for that young boy that had a lot of dreams while he was in his home country, Austria. Talking about his political affiliations, in 2003, he became the governor of California, the 38th governor of California. He actually did 2 terms, 2003 to 2011. So all these things were actually happening because he believed in himself. He did not limit himself to that little farm somewhere in Austria. He had to push himself harder than his parents actually thought of him. He had to put himself out there. He did not limit himself. He believed in his dreams. He held on to his dreams until he left Austria to the United States. That was in 1968. He left Austria to the United States in 1968. And never since then, he has not looked back. So what is this story telling you as a young person out there? That no matter your background, it doesn't matter. This is someone that came in all the way from Austria in 1968 to the US. and he did a lot of things, from bodybuilding to acting to becoming a politician. He did a lot of things. From that humble background to doing all of these things. This is what motivation looks like. You know, whatever your background, do not look at where you are from actually. Just always look at the bright side of things. That you can actually do anything at all, irrespective of your background. You know, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was in Austria, people of his age, a lot of them were in US. Because he believed in himself, he left Austria to US and he became number one in a lot of things that he was doing. Of course, when we were growing up, Terminator used to be like number one on top of the list when it comes to action movie. He was the lead actor. You know, a lot of us actually knew him back then as Commando. You know, because of that movie, Terminator, or because he did not give up on his dreams. So, as I said earlier, you as a young man watching this video, do not sleep on your dreams. Just believe in yourself. As I always say in most of my videos, do not listen to naysayers. Those kind of people that will always tell you you cannot do it. Do not listen to them. Just put yourself out there and make sure you always go back to work. Do not listen to those kind of people that would always tell you that you cannot do it, that will always discourage you. Just keep your hope alive. You know, most importantly, keep going to work, for tomorrow is brighter than today. Of course, you don't know what tomorrow brings. So just keep going back to work and keep believing in yourself. At the end of the day, you'll be glad that you did not actually give up on your dreams. You know, you can imagine someone from Austria becoming the governor in California. He actually did 2 terms as governor of California. In acting, he was one of the best. In bodybuilding, according to records, he was also one of the best. All these things were happening for him because he did not give up on himself. You know, and I believe you that is watching this video, you can also do the same thing. So, if you have watched this video to this point, I would like you to like this video and of course subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Peace and love.